Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me. I'm Jill Bloom, Group Publisher of Roofing Contractor, and welcome to our Best of Success podcast show. It's always an honor to have with me Trent Cotney, partner with Adams and Reese. Trent, thank you so much for joining me.
Jill, thanks for having me.
Excellent. Well, Trent, it's the end of the year. There's always a lot of things to wrap up for contractors who are listening, and always a lot of there's always tons of legal issues going on, right?
Right.
Where do you even start sometimes? I'm not even sure where to start. But let's start off with just year-end planning. What should all contractors do when it comes to year-end planning?
Yeah, so weird year this year because we've got, both holidays falling in the middle of the week. So there's not going to be a lot that's done during the next couple of weeks. And, despite best efforts, I kind of anticipate it's going to be a little bit dead. So I assume a lot of contractors are sort of dialing down. A lot of people are going to be taking time off. And there's a couple of things that I always recommend that contractors do. First thing is get with your CPA, do tax planning, because if you're like me, your businesses are pass-throughs. So, you can consider things like prepaying expenses. There's still a lot of options for purchasing, large trucks and things like that. If it's over 6,000 pound curb weight, Section 179 deductions, all these different types of things, purchases that you can do that will help eliminate some of that pass through that you're going to eat at the end of the year. So, obviously payouts, any outstanding, AR invoice, AP you've got, anything like that, and then on the other side, do whatever you can to collect as much as you can in this year, depending on where you're at. Playing that game is always something that you have to kind of figure out. Do I want more money in this year because I got a lot of losses, or do I want to hold off and push collections first week of January, right? Assuming you're on calendar year. And the second part of that is with the downtime, obviously you're spending it with family and friends, but to the extent that you've got time, I always work on the business, right? I think about what could I have done better this year, and from a contractor standpoint, you want to look at things like make sure that you've looked at your core risk mitigation documents, your manuals, employee manual, safety manual, your toolbox talks, your contracts, what are your operational procedures? Go through the year and, look at the high points and how do you repeat that success and reverse engineer the low points, right? Figure out what could you have done to prevent that from happening. So this is really the only time that I've ever experienced where you can actually do that because life is just too busy any other time. This is that one chunk of time. So my advice is obviously family, friends, holidays come first, but if you've got that downtime, find a quiet place, think about your business. What could you have done better? What can you improve on heading into 2025?
Yeah, always a good time to reflect for sure. Yeah. Well, Trent, an article that we just put out on that had to do with Iowa and some regulations going on. What does everybody need to know? How can you recap that for everybody?
Yeah, so it is. You and I have talked about this a lot over the last year, and insurance and storm work is constantly under attack. Florida here is the epicenter for all kinds of roofing regulations related to insurance and storm work. And you're seeing this kind of percolate out from Florida and move out to everything else, all the other states that are out there. So you're seeing a lot of, changes from everything from door knocking to assignment of benefits to you name it. The recent Iowa law is nothing earth-shattering compared to what other states are having to deal with. But basically, they just made it very clear that contractors have to walk a tightrope when it comes to helping an insurer. They cannot act as an unlicensed public adjuster. They can't negotiate price with an insurance company, and they just need to fall within that. So part of understanding this is anytime you get these new regulations, the insurance storm contractors out there need to make sure they're updating their contracts to have statements in there that say, look, I'm not a licensed public adjuster. I cannot negotiate price. I can help you with scope. Add in there that, there is no such thing as a free roof. The deductible is an absolute obligation. That's the case, Jill, in all 50 states.
Sure.
So, and it's based off your insurance policy as well. So, I think that there are things like that, if you're in the insurance world, you need to understand that times are changing quickly. I just had a great conversation the other day about how contingency contracts are going to be a thing of the past. I see more and more insurance contractors moving towards either a hybrid model where it's contingency up for a few months. And then after that, the homeowner's got to pay, to, we'll go to your insurance, but if not, we're coming after you, kind of thing. And
Sure.
I think you're going to see more and more of those changes as the industry evolves.
Yeah, and we were reporting too that Shamrock Roofing was really pushing back on just how they were trying to just help homeowners negotiate, and not negotiate, but just navigate these waters. And
Right.
so where do contractors get stuck? Is it just what they say and how they say it, and the homeowner thinks that they are misrepresenting themselves?
Yeah, usually what I see is that it's an over aggressive salesperson, and you got to walk a fine line there, because a lot of times insurance companies will reach out to the contractor asking them to help clarify things. And, you'll have supplementals where you may have extras or overhead profit or other things that you're submitting. And you got to be able to explain that from a scope standpoint. So what I like to do is obviously you always start with your contract, make sure you got some, self-serving statements in there, watch what you say, be very careful about what you say, explain to the customer, say, look, I'm not a licensed public adjuster. You're welcome to hire one. I can't negotiate price with you. Right. But I can put everything I see from a scope standpoint on there, which in turn, hopefully will result in a larger, payout from coverage.
Sure.
Standpoint. So.
Right. Not to have you repeat yourself, but yeah, that's worth. I think it's worth repeating for sure, because I think it sounds like people are getting stuck into something there.
Absolutely.
Well, the other thing too, Trent, that I wanted to ask you about, it is the end of the year, but there's so many contractors out there that try and get ahead of what's coming. What would be the top things you would recommend for contractors that are already planning for 2025 and beyond? Like what you were just mentioning, even, planning out taxes. Like what are some things that contractors could do ahead of time to plan that would help their business for 2025?
3 things. First thing, shore up your labor. I am concerned about the immigration policies that are coming up. Make sure that you're doing your best to get your hooks into good sub crews that are gonna, that are gonna be there. Look for possible assistance that you can give in the event that there are issues from an immigration standpoint. Look at your labor. Second thing would be make sure that you've got price acceleration provisions and or labor rate change provisions in your contract, because if tariffs impact, raw materials that go into systems, roofing systems, you could have material price increases. If sub-labor starts leaving, then labor rates may go up, and you want to make sure that you're contractually protected for that. And the third thing is, and I just told my people the same thing, is it's real easy to look at the next 2 weeks and go, hey, I'm just going to goose egg every day and, we'll dial it in. But the problem with that is you roll into January with nothing in the coffers. So it's, make sure that you're staying on top of things. Don't throw it all the way down, because then you're, hitting that credit line in January, you're playing catch up. You want to come in with some good money that is going to help with receivables.
Great advice as always, Trent. Yeah. Thank you as always. And if anybody has any questions for you, where do they find you?
Sure. They can email me, trent.cotney@arlaw.com, or hit me up on social anywhere @TrentCotney.
Perfect. And if anybody has any questions for us, it is roofingcontractor.com or wconline.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for all our free content. Make sure you follow us on all our social media channels so you can stay up to date on all the great legal nuggets of information we're putting out with Trent. But most importantly, stay safe and healthy. Have a fabulous holiday, and we can't wait to talk to you soon. Thanks again, Trent.
Thank you.